A driver in Bakersfield, California pulled into a truck stop, climbed into his sleeper, and let his diesel engine idle all night to keep the air conditioning running. When he woke up, there was a $300 citation under his wiper blade, and the officer told him it could have been $1,000. He hadn't been speeding. He hadn't been drinking. He'd been sleeping. Truck stops feel like a legal gray zone, a little slice of pavement where the normal rules don't apply, but they're not. Some of the most common habits in trucking, things drivers do every single night without thinking twice, are against the law in 38 states or more. A few of them are illegal in all 50. Today, we're counting down 14 of them, and fair warning, the one at number 1 is something almost every driver in America gets completely wrong. It can turn a responsible decision into a criminal charge while you're literally asleep. So grab your coffee, park it somewhere legal, and let's get into it. Number 14, idling the engine all night. We just talked about that Bakersfield driver, so let's start here. Letting a diesel engine idle for hours to run the heater or the AC is basically a religion in trucking. But more than 30 states now have anti-idling laws on the books, and they are not shy about enforcing them. California is the strictest, with a 5-minute idling limit for heavy trucks and fines that start around $300 and climb fast for repeat offenses. New Jersey, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and New York all have their own versions, some with fines that reach into the thousands. Cities pile on too. Denver, Philadelphia, and Chicago all have local idling ordinances stacked on top of state law. The reasoning is air quality, since one idling truck burns close to a gallon of diesel an hour while pumping exhaust into a lot full of sleeping drivers. The fix is an auxiliary power unit or a diesel heater, which pays for itself in fuel savings anyway. But plenty of drivers still roll the dice every night, and in the wrong lot, that dice roll costs more than a week of loads. Number 13, tossing trash at the fuel island. You've seen it. A driver finishes fueling, gathers up the fast food bags and coffee cups from the cab, and just leaves the pile sitting on the fuel island, or worse, drops it next to the pump like the ground is a garbage can. Littering is a crime in every state, and the fines are heavier than most drivers realize. Many states start littering penalties at several $100s. And states like Texas can hit you for up to $500 on a first offense with community service picking up trash on the highway. Some states can even suspend a license for repeat littering. Truck stop chains have also started reviewing camera footage and banning offenders from their locations, which matters a lot when you depend on those showers and parking spots. There's a trash can roughly every 40 feet at a major travel center. Using one is free. Not using one can cost you a day's pay and your favorite place to park. And speaking of things left behind at the fuel island, the next one is a whole lot worse than coffee cups. Number 12, the urine jug toss. We need to talk about the bottles. Every driver knows about them. The gallon jugs of urine that end up on shoulders, in truck stop landscaping, and scattered across parking lots from coast to coast. Highway cleanup crews in states like Washington and Utah collect thousands of them every year, and lawmakers noticed. Washington state specifically strengthened its litter laws to cover what officials politely call dangerous litter, with fines over $1,000 for throwing human waste from a vehicle. Other states treat it as illegal dumping of biohazardous material, which is a step up from ordinary littering and can come with misdemeanor charges. The cleanup workers who handle these bottles have to treat them as hazardous waste, wearing gloves and using grabber tools. Look, nobody's saying the bathroom situation on the road is perfect, but sealing the bottle and dropping it in a dumpster is legal. Launching it into the grass next to a fuel island is a citation waiting for a witness, and these days, every truck stop has about 40 cameras watching. Number 11, sleeping on ramps and shoulders. When the truck stop is full at 10 p.m., and it's always full at 10 p.m., drivers do the next logical thing. They pull onto the highway on-ramp or the shoulder, throw on the flashers, and crash for the night. In most states, that's illegal. Shoulders and ramps are legally reserved for emergencies, and being tired doesn't count as one in the eyes of the law, even though it probably should. States like Virginia, Ohio, and Tennessee actively ticket ramp parkers, with fines that typically run $100 to $250. The bigger issue is safety. Parked trucks on ramps are involved in serious crashes every year when a drowsy or drunk driver drifts onto the shoulder at highway speed and hits a parked trailer. The federal government has acknowledged the truck parking shortage for over a decade, and there are roughly 11 drivers for every available truck parking space in some corridors. That's a real crisis. But until it's fixed, a ramp nap is a gamble with both your wallet and your life. Number 10. Grilling next to the pumps. Truck stop cookouts are one of the best traditions in this industry. A little charcoal grill, some folding chairs, a few drivers swapping stories over burgers. The problem is where some drivers set it up. Fire codes in every state prohibit open flames and ignition sources near fuel dispensers, and most jurisdictions define that danger zone as 20 feet or more from the pumps and the underground tank vents. Fire that grill up in the wrong spot and you're violating state fire code, which can mean fines. And if something actually ignites, you're looking at criminal negligence charges. Gasoline vapor is heavier than air and travels along the ground, which is exactly where your charcoal briquettes are sitting. Diesel is less volatile, but the gas island next door doesn't care about that distinction. The back row of the lot, away from the fuel canopy, is usually fine and often welcomed by the truck stop. The fuel island is not a kitchen. Keep the tailgate party where the vapors aren't. Number 9. Dogs off leash and pets in hot cabs. Trucking dogs are the best dogs, no argument there. But letting your pup roam the parking lot off leash violates leash ordinances in almost every city and county in America, and truck stops sit inside those jurisdictions just like everywhere else. If your off-leash dog bites someone or causes a wreck between the fuel lanes, you're personally liable, and some states file criminal charges when an unrestrained animal injures a person. The darker side of this one is the hot cab. Leaving a dog in a truck with the engine off in summer heat is animal cruelty under the law in the majority of states, with over 30 states having specific hot car animal statutes. A cab in the sun can pass 120 degrees in under 30 minutes. 14 states even protect passers-by who break a window to rescue a distressed animal, which means someone can legally smash your window and you get charged while paying for the glass. Idle laws have exemptions for animal welfare in some states, and an APU solves it everywhere else. Leash on, temperature managed, everybody stays out of court. Number 8. The radar detector on the dash. Here's one that surprises a shocking number of drivers, including veterans. Radar detectors are legal for regular cars in almost every state, but in a commercial motor vehicle, they've been banned by federal regulation since 1994. The Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration prohibits radar detectors in any commercial vehicle over 10,000 pounds, which means the ban follows your truck through all 50 states no matter what local law says. Get caught with one during an inspection and it's a violation on your record, points against your carrier's safety score, and in some states an additional fine on top. Officers know exactly where to look, and a detector sitting in plain sight on the dash during a level 1 inspection is about the easiest violation an officer will write all day. Some drivers buy them anyway and stash them when they see scales ahead, but inspectors have seen every hiding spot you can think of. The wild part is how many drivers genuinely don't know this rule exists because the detector was perfectly legal in their pickup truck the day before they got their CDL. Still, a detector only costs you points and a fine. This next one can cost you your freedom. Number 7. Carrying your pistol across state lines. This might be the most dangerous item on the whole list because getting it wrong can end with a felony conviction and prison time. A huge number of drivers carry a firearm in the truck for protection, and honestly, sleeping alone in a dark lot in an unfamiliar city, you can understand why. But concealed carry permits do not work like driver's licenses. There's no national reciprocity. A permit from Texas or Florida means nothing in states like New York, New Jersey, Illinois, or California. And getting caught with a loaded handgun in the cab in one of those states can mean felony charges with mandatory minimum jail time. New Jersey has sent drivers to prison for guns that were completely legal in their home state. There is a federal safe passage law that protects transporting an unloaded, locked-up firearm through a state. But the moment you stop overnight at a truck stop, that protection gets shaky, and courts have disagreed on where the line is. Drivers have lost their freedom, their CDL, and their gun rights over a pistol they legally bought. If you carry, you need to know the law of every single state on your route, not just your home state. Quick pause. If this video is saving you from a ticket or worse, hit subscribe. We break down road life, trucking laws, and the stuff nobody teaches you in CDL school every single week. Now number 6, dumping gray water and oil in the lot. Draining your RV gray tank into a storm drain, tipping used motor oil behind the trailer drop lot, dumping a cooler full of old food water onto the pavement. All of it counts as illegal dumping, and the environmental statutes behind it have real teeth. Storm drains at truck stops flow into local waterways, not treatment plants, so states treat dumping into them as water pollution. Used motor oil is regulated as hazardous under federal law, and improper disposal can bring fines in the thousands per violation, with some states adding criminal penalties for knowing violations. Truck stops have cameras on the backlots specifically because of this, and several major chains prosecute dumpers to protect their own environmental permits. Meanwhile, most travel centers and any auto parts store will take used oil for free, and RV dump stations cost a few bucks. This is one of those crimes where the legal option is genuinely easier than the illegal one, and people still choose the storm drain. Number 5, the open beer with dinner. You're parked for the night. 10-hour break, keys out of the ignition, boots off. Cracking a cold one in your own sleeper feels like the most harmless thing in the world. But open container laws in the majority of states apply to the entire passenger area of a vehicle, and many of them apply whether the vehicle is moving or parked on a public access lot. A truck stop parking lot usually counts. That means an officer walking the lot who sees an open bottle in your cup holder can write a citation even though you're stationary and staying put. For a CDL holder, an alcohol violation in the vehicle is a much bigger deal than for a regular driver, because federal rules prohibit having alcohol in a commercial vehicle at all unless it's sealed manifest cargo, and drivers can be placed out of service for 24 hours just for possessing it. So that 6-pack in the mini fridge of your work truck is itself a violation before you ever open one. In your personal RV, the rules relax somewhat in some states, but in the truck, the safest number of open containers is 0. And if a sealed 6-pack is already a problem, wait until you hear about the product half the country now sells legally a mile from the truck stop. Number 4, legal state weed with a CDL. Recreational marijuana is now legal in around half the country, and dispensaries sit within a mile of major truck stops in states like Colorado, Michigan, and California, which creates the most expensive misunderstanding in modern trucking. State legalization does not apply to CDL holders. Federal DOT rules prohibit marijuana use for anyone driving a commercial vehicle. Full stop, no matter what state you bought it in or used it in. Test positive, even from a legal purchase on legal home time in a legal state, and you go into the Federal Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse, you're pulled from driving immediately, and you face a return-to-duty process that takes months and costs thousands. Tens of thousands of drivers have lost their careers this way since the clearinghouse launched, and a huge share of them thought they were following the law because their state said it was fine. Simply possessing it in the truck is also a federal problem, since it's still a controlled substance in a DOT-regulated vehicle. The gummy from the shop with the green cross is legal for the guy fueling his Honda at the next pump. For you, it's a career ender. Number 3, buying from the trailer-to-trailer salesman. Every experienced driver has met him. The guy walking the lot at midnight selling power tools, DVDs, perfume, chrome accessories, or electronics out of a duffel bag at prices that make no sense. Selling merchandise without a permit is illegal on its own in most jurisdictions, and truck stops ban it on their property. But the trap is on the buyer's side. A lot of that merchandise is stolen, often from the very freight industry you work in, lifted off trailers and docks. And receiving stolen property is a crime in all 50 states. with many states applying charges even when the buyer merely should have known the goods were stolen. A brand new $400 drill sold for $40 in a parking lot at midnight is what prosecutors call a red flag. Depending on the value, this can be a felony, and police periodically run stings in truck stop lots doing exactly this. If the deal only makes sense because the guy is in a hurry and takes cash only, walk away. You're not getting a bargain. You're buying evidence. Number 2, feeding the strays. This one hurts because it comes from the best part of people. Almost every truck stop in America has its resident cats, and plenty have a stray dog or two that drivers feed on every pass through town. But a surprising number of cities and counties have ordinances that make feeding stray or feral animals illegal, with fines that can run from $50 up to several hundred. Some jurisdictions classify repeat feeding as maintaining a public nuisance. The logic, whether you agree with it or not, is that feeding stations attract larger colonies, plus raccoons, coyotes, and rats, and create disease and traffic hazards around businesses. A few drivers have genuinely been cited for leaving food out behind travel centers in states like Texas and Florida. If you want to help, the legal route is contacting a local TNR group, a trap, neuter, and return program, since many of them already manage truck stop cat colonies and can take donations. Nobody's saying the parking lot cat doesn't deserve dinner. The law just says your kindness might come with a fine attached depending on whose county you're parked in. And that brings us to number 1, sleeping it off in your bunk. Picture the most responsible version of this scenario. A driver finishes his shift, walks to the truck stop bar or cracks a couple beers with dinner, and instead of driving anywhere, he climbs into his sleeper to sleep it off. Engine off, not moving an inch. He is doing exactly what every safety campaign ever told him to do. And in most states, he can still be arrested for DUI. The reason is something called physical control laws. In the majority of states, you don't have to be driving to be charged. You just have to be intoxicated while in physical control of the vehicle. And courts have found physical control when the keys were in the ignition, in a pocket, or even sitting in the cup holder. Drivers have been convicted while asleep in the sleeper berth with the engine running for heat. For a CDL holder, the threshold is lower too, 0.04 instead of 0.08, and a first DUI in a commercial vehicle means losing your CDL for at least a year. The safest moves are well known among lawyers who handle these cases. Keys physically away from the ignition, locked in a bag or the side box, and stay in the bunk, not the driver's seat. But the honest answer is simpler. If you're going to drink at a truck stop, understand that the law can treat your parked bedroom as a vehicle you're operating, and plan accordingly. So there it is, 14 habits that feel normal at midnight in a truck stop lot, ranging from a littering fine to a felony gun charge to a DUI you can catch while unconscious. The pattern across all 14 is the same. The road runs through 50 different rule books, and a habit that's perfectly fine in one state can be a charge in 38 others. Knowing the difference is what keeps your record clean and your career alive. If you drive for a living or you're about to start, subscribe right now, because next week we're covering the roadside inspection mistakes that put drivers out of service on the spot. And if you want to know which truck stop chains are quietly the worst places in America to park overnight, that video is on your screen. Click it. I'll see you there.